Welcome to the Blooming League of Original Podcasts.
G'day and welcome to an extra angelic edition of Thrash and Treasure, the torture chamber musical comedy podcast that locks the Grateful Dead inside a cage with Candor and Ebb for scientific purposes. And speaking of dead inside, I'm Aaron. And I'm joined, as unusual, by the man who can stand back from the microphone with his hands in the air and wave them around like he just don't care, because he's Spencer the Broadway Spy. How's it going? Welcome to the show. Well, you've been part of the show for a while now.
Thanks so much, Aaron. I'm excited to do this today.
And so for our listeners at home, obviously you've been doing the ad break you've done 8 of them so far, of the reviews for shows that are currently on Broadway, because you're a college student studying in New York City. So would you like to tell our listeners what you're studying?
Yeah, so I'm in New York studying jazz and contemporary music at the New School in Greenwich Village, and I try and see every show on Broadway.
And so you've sort of made the perfect guinea pig to join us today, because obviously you're studying music, you love your musicals, so let's throw you into a metal album, shall we?
Yes.
Awesome. So we're going to jump straight into it, because guess what?
What?
Holy Robinson Pete, metal man. We've got 2 legendary returning divas up in the belfry, and they're here to take us to church tonight on a very special blossom. We were rapt when our first guest gifted us with her presence on Christmas morning for a white Christmas, but other colours and shades are available, unwrapping a 30-plus year career where there's a legacy of lip-sticking joy to the world by this angelic beauty who never misses Holland's opus, with performances up Sunset Boulevard on White Christmas with Napoleon and Henry Ive. But Jekyll and Hyde won't take me along to Urinetown because they miss Saigon. So merrily we roll along before the dimming of the day with a sleigh full of TV and film appearances, helping her Santa Claus into today's chosen noisical, singing the praises and phrases of our second returning guest, who first joined us for the Belleville Headbangers Ball, which was no doubt the highlight of this painfully phenomenal career, because this man made a man out of Hercules and turned Mulan from zero to hero, and vice versa, with his wickedly wonderful words that woke the warrior within the world's wee ones, whilst whipping up a wagon of awards and widening his reach after already winning the Great White Wait's welcome with this week's winning Hollywoodzical, as well as counting the countless acclaimed collaborations with the galaxy's most accoladed composers, including Coleman, Cantor, Menken, Hamlish, Wilder, and Lloyd Webber, with whom his wilder, not so precious, badass Cinderella hits the Broadway stage in the new year. Luckily, because today's these 2 precious crystals are slipping back into our Thrash and Treasure chest. So with a cut print, we deliver a huge Aussie g'day and a welcome back to 2 of our favorite guests, as this legendary lyricist and Alpha Betty take us from A to Z, or Z if you're stunning, which she is because she's our Stasi and he's the sweetest soul in Hollywood, Broadway, heck, the whole galaxy, being the wordsmith of The Woman in White, The Goodbye Girl, The Star-Spangled Man, Veronica's Closet Theme, Liza at the Palace with a C, a high C, when hitting the high Cs, as the singing voice of Jean Bob in The Swan Princess. And I could go on, but we're running out of time and breath and turning into pumpkins. So get pumped, kids, because that was a terrible rhyme, but we always have time for the ones and onlys, Lady Anastasia Barzee and Sir David Zippel. Yay!
That was great.
Hey, old friends, la 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 la. I don't know the words.
Good day, mate. To all.
How you going? Welcome back.
Pretty amazing, Aaron.
Thank you so much. Do you know how much practice that takes? And I could not get it all week. That accoladed bit, I just could not get, and I still stumbled in the end. So I hope I outdid the first time, because that was my goal, is to make an even bigger fool of myself. So I hope I succeeded.
It's wonderful.
Yep. Thank you so much. So how are you guys going?
Good.
Good.
It's quite a tumultuous time on Broadway at the moment.
Oh my goodness.
Patti LuPone just quit Equity. Oh my God. But that's none of our business. That is all everyone else's.
When did she do that?
This morning.
About an hour ago.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said, what did she say? She actually had a great tweet.
Yeah, it's banding her name around.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
I've just handed in my Equity card. I'm done with this circus. I'm like, yes, Queen.
I saw her at the opening of the piano lesson last Thursday. She seemed in good form.
Here she says, quite a week on Broadway, seeing my name being bandied about. Gave up my Equity card, no longer part of that circus. Figure it out.
The ripples are felt across the world, I tell you that. The gays are in shock, akin to Stonewall, really. No, it's not.
Oh my God.
It's a terrible analogy. I'm going to hell anyways. It doesn't matter.
I guess is it in response to the Lilius White situation during Hadestown? Is it in response to
I thought it was in response to 1776.
I took it as it was a response to the Lilius White because everyone was comparing it to it.
Yeah.
That's what I took it as.
Oh.
The 1776 thing is a whole different
Oh
issue.
yeah.
Oh, that's what I took it as, which I've now dubbed 1332 because that's 75% of 76. And I know I'm going to hell.
Oh my God. Oh, that's hysterical.
I am in Australia, so they cannot get me. Anyways.
You're far away.
Did Equity do something to Lil? I know she made a mistake and apologized for it, but
I don't think it's that. I think it's just like, Twitter and Facebook and theater in general was very angry. And they were saying, that she was trying to pull a Patti LuPone. And, that's the stuff I read. I didn't read much into that one. I went down the rabbit hole with 1776 or what is it? 13 what?
1332. That's 75% of 76.
That's really, really good.
Thank you.
1332.
Of course, no one retweeted my joke. But, that's the story of my life.
Oh, I gotta go find it.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll slip it into your DMs because I am completely shameless, as we already know on this show. So anyways, we're going to move on to the metal album.
nothing's current events.
Well, I don't pay attention. That's the thing. I have the words "the" and muted on Twitter. I have no idea what's going on with anything.
Oh.
It's so quiet. It's really good. Nothing against anyone else. It's just quiet. It's peaceful and quiet.
It's quieter.
That's it. I enjoy it.
My Twitter this week has actually been talking about one of David's projects,
Oh,
which is
which one?
Which is Hercules at the paper mill that I know I'm very excited for, and a lot of people my age are as well, which we've not seen for a Disney show in quite a while.
I'm so jealous. I want to see it so badly because I know it was done Shakespeare in the Park, is it? Regent's.
Yeah.
We did it in the park, and then now we're doing it was part of a public works presentation. There were 250 plus people in it. We're trying to do it now, fewer than 30.
Much more sustainable, I think.
Quite a big difference.
I can't wait because that score is fun. It harkens back to Little Shop of Horrors with Mencken's music, that sort of flavor to it, even though it's sort of Motown.
Yeah.
And there's a calypso with Little Mermaid, and sort of throws back to Little Shop, which I still maintain, as I said the other day, is and will always be one of the best, if not the best, stage to screen adaptations because it's just perfect. So, and anyways, I know.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Isn't it? Just
And it's show.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I love it. We did it in high school, so
Oh.
you can imagine how good it was then.
I saw it recently. I hadn't seen it in a million years, and I made my children watch it because they say they don't like musicals. But whenever I show them something really good, they're like, "Oh yeah, all right, this is good. All right, okay." So I made them watch that, and they loved it.
Yeah,
It's so good.
It's very much a like people who don't watch musicals, I've found, have seen it over time because it's sort of like it's like Grease in a lot of ways, but more of an underground, but not as underground as Rocky Horror, which isn't really underground anymore. It's legendary now, so they all are. But anyways, we'll move on to the metal album because I picked the album this week, and I picked a New Zealand band that we've already done called Devilskin. Let's see how we went, and I'll quickly read through my review. When I first decided to reconjure the Devilskin, it was because of last week's unwarranted album choice, with my only choice being to take the power away from Evan. Oh geez, that joke's timely now, isn't it? I can feel it running through my veins like electricity. It feels good. But will this debut effort, We Rise, feel good or leave me deflated? Well, with a forthcoming title, we are off to a good start. So pressing play on Devilskins, or Skin for short, opening number, the drums immediately swept me in. And once Jenny Scalander's biting vocals kicked in, my weary eyes yet again opened up. Damn. Lyrically, it's dark, poetic, but relatable, sweet, and fits perfectly within the yearning qualities of Lady Scalander's tone. But I have no idea what this has to do with Elvis Presley. I don't say I never know when a song has progressed to the next track. owing in part to my settings, but the dark through line in the second track creates the perfect blend from our Kiwi neighbors. I don't know what Chainsaw was meant to be, but they could have lopped it out. But then the bop of Vessel starts, taking us on a 3-minute roller coaster that twists and turns with its sadly relatable lyrics, which yet again have me asking, why the hell isn't this band bigger? Here we have a bop, a dark tale, rah-rah-rahs, and branding at play, and a song that doesn't feel repetitive, unlike these reviews. So I take this poison and raise it up because this song and album speak to me. Why didn't this start a revolution? This should be track 1 because, it's called Start, but this 2002 Spider-Man credits track is clearly the radio favorite and reminds me of that goddess, Kelly Clarkson. As the Skins' next track progresses, the darkness and yearning continues, sweeping me up and beating me around until I bleed. Not from the ears, unlike last week, from a broken heart as Lady Scalander cements her spot as a truly poetic, multifaceted artist. One might say, I'm a devil, but I'm all for skins. Oh, wait, that came out wrong. 6 stars. I love this album. This singer, Jenny, her lyrics, she's dark, she's brooding, there's a yearning there. She does the that's her. Mind blown. So yeah, I that's why I picked them again, because I thought these were lyrically quite a strong album. There's some very dark lyrics in there, but they're just so poetic in the way she delivers them, I think anyways. But
I liked it. As you know, I'm not a rock head in general, but I thought that the music, it was very melodious. I mean, really good tunes, and the vocals were really strong. And it's very much a hard rock album, acid rock, I suppose. But it was like big '80s power ballad kind of things. It was good. I thought it was really. You chose well for me because it was so melodic.
Well, I was thinking of you here because obviously being a lyricist, and I thought there's such potent lyrics in the first album that we'd listened to, which is their latest one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like speaking about take this broken glass and warm up my insides. It's just so dark, but you hear that and you're like, that's such a poetic way to talk about it, like the comfort that she's getting from those thoughts. And so again, very, very dark. It's a song about suicide, but it's a bop. It's strange.
Yeah, I agree with you. Lyrically, it's really interesting for metal, because most metal that I hear, I have friends who are like metalheads, which is weird because they're jazz majors, and so it's weird that the music they listen to is like unlike anything that they play. But mostly it's like screaming in the stuff that I'm shown by then, and this is really thoughtful lyrics.
Yeah, considering she goes from this soaring yearning with these poetic lyrics, and then she'll just go, it's phenomenal. How hasn't her throat just left her body and just gone away to Bora Bora or somewhere?
It reminds me, if you've listened to the Beetlejuice cast recording.
Yes.
How his voice, like, I was just watching a video about it, how he has like an extra ventricle fold or something that means that he can do the voice safely, but like it makes me think of like if he didn't, that voice 8 times a week is very similar to like a metal voice where you just have to have that gruff like
Yeah, it sits in a spot. That's how it was described to us by a musician. Can you see this band doing a musical or something, a film, or like, Tommy or whatnot?
Well, I'm not sure if they do tell stories, but basically they'd have to decide how to dramatically link their songs together, and I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, I reckon they could, because the through line in their music is there. I thought maybe the second half of the album sort of got a bit more mid-tempo and a bit slower. They could have mixed it up a little bit, but I don't know how they're not more widely known. I really don't, because I think they're super talented.
Are they still working?
Yeah, they've just released an album, I think 2020, called Red. And there was a song on that called Endo. And when I first heard that, I cried because it was just so powerful, so emotional in the song, and her voice, her lyrics. And like, this was only a few episodes in, maybe 10 episodes in or something. So I was only new to metal at that point, but yeah, I fell in love right away.
And she's out of where? Where is this band out of?
New Zealand.
It is New Zealand. there is a bit of a Kelly Clarkson,
Isn't there?
like if Kelly Clarkson saying metal.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you hear it? There's something there that's similar.
Yeah, I do. Especially in
Surrender.
Surrender, yeah.
Yeah.
And Fade. Yeah, those two in particular, yeah.
Right.
Well, last time you were on the show, we did a Christmas album, which was quite thrash, and you sort of kind of enjoyed that. How did you go this time overall with this one?
So the first song, Elvis Presley, Circle Pit, I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to like this at all because it was so aggressive. And, I'm not a big metal person, as you know, but I appreciate the art form, like any art form. I don't really like country music either, but I can listen to it and go, okay, well, that guy can clearly sing his face off and it's a great melody. And even though it's about a guy getting drunk in his pickup truck because his lady left him, I can still appreciate it. Anyway, so Circle Pit, I couldn't understand the lyrics.
Yeah.
And it was so aggressive and the sound was so distorted. I kind of thought, oh, I'm not going to like this. And then I listened to Little Pills, which I liked a little bit more. I thought there was more of a story there, and there was definitely more melody, more of a melodic thing to it. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. But I got to tell you, by the time I got to Surrender,
Yep.
I think she's amazing. I think Surrender is like, I was thinking, oh, this is kind of like Kelly Clarkson meets Nirvana, which kind of is. But on Surrender, she was like one of my idols. She was Melissa Etheridge. I just thought she was amazing. Amazing. And the song is amazing. And, you had said something about like, do you think this could ever be made into a musical kind of thing? And I'm like, I'd have to read the lyrics to give
Or then write one from scratch, like.
Right. I'd love to read them.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. It's a story about a woman, struggling with her demons, her Devilskin, struggling with her demons and struggling with whether she wants to be here or not. And Surrender was freaking heartbreaking because I felt like, oh God, she's gonna go to the heaviside layer. She's gonna do it. She's gonna kill herself. Anyway, I loved Surrender. It's now on my phone.
Oh, wow.
As one of my workout songs. Yeah. The Horror, I think you need to play it on your Halloween show, whenever you do your Halloween show, because it's so great. So The Horror, I freaking loved. I'm going to play it on Halloween on a loop as children come, because I'm actually in a neighborhood where kids come and get candy and stuff.
Yep. Awesome.
And I was a little angry that it was so short. You sent me that thing and I thought, oh, well, maybe it's short on Spotify. So then I went to my Apple Music and it's like, no, it's like a minute long. It needs to be longer. It's so cool. But you could see, like, after listening to Surrender and talking about it in terms of a musical, I thought, oh my God, this is the scene where she's maybe going to do it. This is like this. And it is only a minute long and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Anyway, I loved it. I loved it. Covet is great. Violation's great.
Oh, good.
It's great. And I'm so glad. If I had just heard the first song, I never would have, and not knowing, of course, that you have great taste, I maybe wouldn't have listened to the rest of it. I would have gone, oh, no, blah, blah, not my style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's so good.
It is, isn't it? That's why I gave it 6 stars, because I was blown away. And that Vessel song, as I say, it's just so dark. It's clearly about suicide, but it's just, you can't help but bop. And it doesn't just stay on one level. It goes through different emotions through it.
Great. And it's
a masterpiece.
It really is. And the producing of it is really interesting and very creative and layered. It's just beautiful. I mean, I guess that's why it's, what do they call it? Indie metal or something?
Alternative metal.
Yeah. Cause it does have, definitely, I don't want to diss on metal, but it's more layered. It's more layered than just straight ahead metal. I just thought it was great.
All right. So Spencer, as our guest co-host for today, how did you go with this metal album? Did you enjoy it?
I did. I'm not a huge metalhead, but I really it wasn't as dark tonally as a lot of the metal albums that I've heard. It was a lot more pop inspired, and you could hear every instrument. A lot of the times with metal, it just sounds like, and this didn't. I think that it sounded much more melodic to me, which was really cool. Still trying to figure out what the first song has to do with Elvis.
Yeah, me too.
Googled the lyrics to see if they would give me any context, and nope,
did
not.
No, you mentioned that it wasn't as tonally dark, but still those lyrics are.
Yes, lyrically it was very dark, but tonally, like the sounds of the instruments, I think wasn't as dark. It made it a lot more enjoyable to listen to for me. I really liked the song "Start a Revolution." I liked that song a lot, and I liked the first one, Elvis Presley's Circle Pit. I think those were my two favorites. Very perplexed by the song Chainsaw, which is an 8-second song that
Yep.
is just a chainsaw sound effect.
Yeah, I actually have my Spotify settings overlapping 8 seconds so that songs always seep into each other. So by the time Chainsaw started, the next songs started because it just sort of goes. Say that this is the one track and then it's the other track. In the middle is Chainsaw. So that's how much
Yeah.
overlap there is, not much. So that's a really bad analogy to use my hands there because people at home would not have seen what I just did.
And I liked Covet a lot as well.
Yeah.
Was very different.
You say it's different, but notice they all blend. The song's still,
Yes.
it's an album. This is what we want. We want an album that flows at the end of the day, I think, anyways. But yeah, so would you go see them in a gig, Spencer? They come to New York City. Are you going with your friends?
So honestly, I would be pretty terrified just because I am friends with a couple metalheads and they go hard at these concerts. Like, I would be terrified to step foot into that room. But I liked the band and I would certainly listen to more of their music.
Yeah, I tell you, I've been in slam pits, Spencer, and I am tiny. So if I could survive as a 16-year-old.
I have two teenage sons, and one of them only listens to rap, and it's really hard to get him to listen to other things.
Mhm.
The other one will listen to everything. We have a game at dinner where we play music. We force each other to listen to music that we like.
Oh, awesome.
And it's really fun because, I'm forced to listen to Juice World and all kinds of stuff that I normally wouldn't listen to. And I force them to listen to stuff. So I'm playing some of this tonight.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Please let me know how that goes.
I will. I totally will. Because I really think, I know Henry's going to dig it. And it'll be something that he puts on his phone and then he shows to all his friends at school and they think he's cool as shit. And Gene will be like, yeah, Gene's 12. Yeah, I appreciate it. I like the vocals. You'll want to have him on your show someday. He's a real music dude. Anyway, I loved it. Thank you for introducing me to it.
No, I'm glad all you guys have embraced it like you have, because as I say, I picked it specifically with David in mind, thinking lyrically.
Yeah.
And so it was then a matter of listening to myself, and I realized, wow, this is an actual really good album. The gra-gra-gras are sparingly used. They're not overused, but they pack a punch when they are used.
They really do.
It doesn't overpower.
Yeah.
Because they've just got such good lyrics and melodies.
Yeah, I mean, lyrically, they were really, really good.
Like, Until You Bleed, Broken Bones Feel Differently. And it's like, yeah. And so do Broken Reputations, as we keep finding out. So
right. Oh, yes. Oh my God, every day there's a new story, right? A new take on all the drama. I liked the Christmas metal album. It was fun and it was like kitschy to me to listen to, Christmas songs in that manner. But this is actually something I would put on my phone, and certainly like when I'm driving around LA, and you just some great music to kind of keep you awake. And I have to go over the hill right now, dry my hair, and I'm gonna put her on.
Yeah, awesome. I love that.
She's great.
Spreading a Kiwi band, tiny little country with 20 million people or something, or 10 million people, I think they got.
Oh, she's got a lot of albums too.
This was their debut, and I think they've come out of the park swinging, in my opinion. Like, we listen to a lot of debuts on this show. A lot of people have taken a few to get into their groove, and that's just the nature of it.
She's really gorgeous. Did you see a picture of her? Have you pulled up a picture? She's really striking too.
She is, isn't she?
Hell yeah.
So if we were to give it a score to this album,
on a 10 scale,
we'll go out of 5.
I give it 4.5 stars. I think it's good, really good.
Yeah, I was blown away. I gave it a 6. 6 out of 5. I know I have a thing for divas and my lady singers and my pop divas, and that's the gay boy way, isn't it? So to hear her kicking ass really all through it, yeah. Anyways, apparently it's alternative metal. When I read that, I wrote down, what on earth is alternative metal? because I thought metal was alternative, but apparently it's sort of a jambalaya of.
Yeah, it sounds a little like that mosh pit. I don't know, a little Nirvana meets metal. Wouldn't that be?
That's good. That's a good combination.
It's definitely poppier than like most metal.
Yeah,
That's why I liked it.
Yeah.
The sound is crisper, I think.
yeah,
And more melodic.
Oh, it's more melodic. Yeah.
yeah. It was, and not repetitive, but still with a through line.
The harmonies were very good as well.
They were, and again, I'm still blown away that that's her going rah 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 rah.
How does she do that? How do you do that?
I think she's sold her soul to the devil. That's the only possible choice. I have no idea. Talent.
Or maybe it's just a distortion on her voice, don't you think? Because it doesn't sound like chords coming together.
No, it doesn't, does it? Anyways, looks like I sold my soul to the Devilskin. We'll be back after this ad break.
Hey there! It's time to get popped on Culture, the official Puzzle Hub pop quiz podcast. And welcome to game number 5. I'm your new host, Matt Young, and for today's special theme, we're going to test your knowledge on musical groups, including bands, boy bands, girl groups, and vocal ensembles. Play against your friends or the clock and see how you go. Alright, let's get into it, shall we? Game 1. Songs in the key of words. I'm going to give you 3 key words that appear within 8 different songs. Pretty simple. If you guess the song correctly on the first keyword, give yourself 3 points. If you guess it on the second, give yourself 2 points, which of course means give yourself 1 for guessing it on the third and final keyword. So let's see how you go. Ready? First clue. Fantasy, landslide, reality. That was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Second clue. Lights, Carrie, home. Of course, that's All the Small Things by Blink-182. Next up, Valentino, Crystal, Italian. That's right, it was Manic Monday by the Bangles. I was kissing Valentino by a crystal blue Italian stream. Alrighty, fourth, picked, bunch, glance. I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. How are you going so far? Next up, lady, glitters, buying. A Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. Lonely, gazing, window. That one was a little bit hard for me, but that was Waterfalls by TLC. Here's our 7th clue. Walked, smile, cool. Of course, that was Stop by Spice Girls. And lastly, honey, bees, envy. My Girl by The Temptations. And time's up. How did you go in that round? And be sure to check out our other shows on the Bloop Network, especially Thrash and Treasure, where you'll hear incredible interviews with genuine icons of stage and screen. So until the next game, I've been Matt, you've been popped on culture, and I shall see you next time. See ya!
David was actually the first person I messaged. And I said, I finally got a puppy. They finally listened to the shopping list.
Oh my God, she's gorgeous.
She is. She's biting me. Hang on, I'll give her a picky. Do you want a picky?
Is she?
Hi, honey. God, her little. I just saw her ears. Look at the ears.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Dalmatian ears, and one's floppy and the other one will stand up straight, but this one will just hang down.
Oh my God, she's so cute.
Good girl. Good girl. She thinks my arm is a like a paper roll holder because it looks like one.
Oh yeah,
So she just
I
bites.
see the similarity. Yeah. It's good.
And Mum has gotten so frustrated with her that yesterday, crying, she goes to me, "She's now yours. She's now your dog. I can't put up with her anymore." Who knows what's to come in the future? But anyways, you're listening to Thrash and Treasure. I'm Aaron, that's Spencer, and we're joined by everybody's favorite crime-fighting duo, Zippel and Barzee, because it's David Zippel and Anastasia Barzee.
That was good.
Awesome. There is another one coming up. But anyways, we're going to speak about happy. Oh no, the pets are happy. I love pets. I am so fulfilled by them. But we are going to move on to the musical because we're going to do City of Angels, which obviously was David's Broadway debut, a Tony Award-winning debut. And Anastasia, you did on tour in Los Angeles, I believe.
Yep.
Wikipedia was right for a change.
I know.
Fancy that.
Ask her about her costume.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my sheet.
Exactly.
Oh, were you the naked body on the bed?
Yes, my audition. You don't remember my audition in Los Angeles, and I was up on stage. I don't know if that theater even exists anymore, on Sunset Boulevard. It was like a screening. I had to sing the song, and you all were out there in the audience. And Michael Blakemore said, "Now, you know, when this song takes place, you're wearing nothing but a sheet." And I said, "Oh, okay." And he said, "So do you think you'll be comfortable doing that?" And I said, "Well, if I drop it, do I get an encore?" And he laughed.
Oh, a woman after my own heart. Oh, I love that.
Yes, I remember that day. I auditioned. I went to the open call, and they had me come back in a bathing suit.
You were like 12 years old.
I was 12. No, I was 23, I think, 23 years old, just out of college, maybe 24.
Wow.
I can't remember, 23 or 24. Yep. Crazy.
Now you're 32, 33.
I am. And I never dropped the sheet. Never did. Never dropped it. Never got my encore.
That's what Gypsy Rose Lee taught us, to be a lady about our stripping. Because I haven't seen it. So I've never known the ending.
Everyone dies.
Oh no. Oh no, it's the Avengers of musicals. Oh no, I've just spoiled
It
that
is.
for everyone, haven't I? Goodness me.
It's one show that you can listen to the album
Yeah.
and not have a clue what the show is about.
Yes.
Because the book and the songs are so integrated, but the book is so it's more complicated to explain than to sit through. It's very clear if you watch it, but
Yeah.
it's very complicated to explain. It's very visual.
Yep. Well, I did
Yeah.
have on the synopsis before, and I clicked read out loud. So the computer read it to me. So I was able to connect the dots that I have never been able to connect over the years from not having seen it. But some of these songs are now standards. You Can Always Count on Me, very much so. You go to anyone's cabaret show, you're going to hear it there. You know, it's certainly, I wouldn't say done to death because I have the lyricist here and that would be incredibly rude of me. It's done a lot, rightfully so.
Right?
It's fine with me.
It is, no, it's very much worth it. And I also knew All You Have to Do Is Wait. I've known that for a long time. But I couldn't pinpoint where I've known it from outside the show, but I do. That's the thing. Was it a cabaret that I saw? Was it something that I was in?
Think of someone using that in their act. That's very odd.
That seems odd.
Yeah, because I know You Can Always Count on Me was done in our acting class review. So I didn't do it myself. One of the girls did it. So yeah, so that one, those two songs I've always known over the years. And then sort of obviously from the soundtrack, the album itself. Now, Spencer has seen it.
Yeah, so
Where'd you
I
see it?
saw it when I was 16 at the Marriott Theater in Lincolnshire, Illinois, in the suburb of Chicago, which is in the round.
With Kevin Early playing you know Kevin?
I know Kevin.
And it was right when I was really getting into theater. And it was the first show I saw with people playing multiple characters. And I remember at the time loving that. And then now, even yesterday, I saw a show where there's people playing multiple characters and loving that concept. And this show is what introduced that to me.
Did you see 1332?
Last week, but the show I'm talking about is Leopoldstadt.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I want to see that.
It's
See that too.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it is. I don't live in New York. I am literally the odd one out here, which is not unusual for me to be the odd one. So this was while you were coming up in theatre, Spencer. Did it have any sort of impact on your decision to get into
Yeah,
theatre?
I mean, it made me want to see more, is really what it was.
The show musically for me was so, like, I remember the first time I saw, well, the only time I've seen it, just like being blown away by the lyrics. And that's a credit to David, that just like how lyrically beautiful that show is.
As
Yeah.
David said, I listened to the album beforehand and had no clue what was going on. But then when you sit down and see the show, it's so clear, which is rare. Sometimes it can be the other way around.
Yeah.
Would you like me to do an attempt to do a 90-second synopsis of the whole thing?
Yes. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
It's a story about a writer named Stein who has written a series of detective stories about a novel named Stone. And he goes to Hollywood to adapt the first of these novels into a movie. And he's working for a producer director named Buddy Fiddler, who's kind of a tough guy and but a charmer. And you see Stein writing his screenplay in living color in Hollywood. And as he writes the screenplay, you see it come to life in black and white. And during the show, sometimes you meet people in the screenplay who 2 scenes later pop up as the people that inspired that character in real life. And sometimes you meet people in real life and they pop up in the screenplay, but they're double cast. So everyone was double cast except for the writer and the detective. And there's a point in the middle of the show, You're Nothing Without Me, when the worlds of fiction and reality cross, that Stone, the detective, reaches out to the writer, Stein, and complains about the way he's being written. And then it gets more complicated from there. How did I do, Anastasia?
I thought that was a great 90-second pitch. I thought that was really, really good. That was great.
Now,
It made me want to write it.
Right? Oh, God. It really was so imaginative.
yeah. And intellectual was, I think, the review I read that in London, that it was a little too intellectual for today's dumbed down audience.
I will brag on our show. When it played in London the first time, one of the critics said it was arguably the wittiest musical ever written, which was kind of nice.
Yeah.
And said it was the yardstick by which musicals of the 20th century will be measured. So it was nice. I'd love to get reviews like that again for something.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think it hasn't been revived on Broadway?
A bunch of reasons.
Because it's too intellectual for today's dumbed down audience.
It's sort of a popcorn musical. You do have to pay attention or you'll get lost.
Yeah.
But we put a lot of clues in so that the audience can find their way back if, in fact, they do get lost.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's been a series of almosts, and that's sort of what happened. Because I can't believe it hasn't been made into a movie. It would be such a good film.
Oh, God, it would be so
we
great.
were working on it when Larry died, and then the whole thing kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
And but over the years, people have sort of approached us. We meet, everybody's excited about it, and then nothing happens. So I don't know. I still have hope.
Yeah. I know Darko Tresnik did a production of it.
He did a great job. It was very good.
And I worked with him right after him, and I just love him. I just think he's so great. And we talked about it, and he said he loved it. He loved working on it. He wanted to do another production. He felt like he'd learned so much from the one that he did. And
it was a good one. And we did a concert version at Reprise, which was sort of the encores of LA.
I saw it.
And it was really good. Really good.
I saw Monica Mancini and I went.
Yeah. Right.
Yes,
oh, that's
we
good.
went. Yeah. I thought that was great.
I was going to say, Aaron, Henry Mancini,
Dun, 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 dun.
His daughter was one of the Angel City 4 in the LA production. And she's a fantastic and a doll.
Yeah. She's one of the ones, we're still friends all these years later. And Lauren Mitchell.
Oh.
There's a few of those gals that I still.
It was a pretty dreamy cast in LA.
Oh.
Was that the one with Vicki Lewis?
In LA, yeah.
She was great too. That was the concert version we're talking about. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, wow. See, I do my homework.
Yes, you do.
I'm not a complete moron.
I was just going to say, you mentioned Buddy, and I thought of Charles Levin, who passed away kind of recently.
I didn't know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually quite sad. I remember I was reading about this recently. He had, I think he was moving house and he was sort of in the middle of nowhere. And I think he got lost and his car got jammed somewhere or got stuck somewhere. So he got out of the car, and he left the dog in the car. And I think he only got, I don't know, maybe 20 meters away or something, 50 meters away at most, and fell. And they found his body, and they found the dog in the car, which is awful. It's just, yeah, it's really sad and an absolute tragic end because, well, he was known to a lot of people for Seinfeld. He played the Moyle in the Briss episode. So, yeah, I just a real tragic ending.
Very sad. But
Oh,
yeah,
very sad.
Charles Levin, who was Buddy and was wonderful. He did it on Broadway too, I think, didn't he, for a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he did the first national tour, and he just was incredible guy, incredible actor.
Ran for quite a long time on Broadway for today's standards.
Yeah, and I was actually just about to jump in and say that exact same thing. I mean, it did win the It won the Best Tony Award. It won the Best Musical Tony Award, obviously, and that helps shows, last a lot of the times beyond the awards season. But you look at some of the shows today that won, and they're just not lasting.
Well, you look at Strange Loop, which is closing after 6 months.
What?
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
Closing in January.
On the Pulitzer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back on the musical, this would make a terrific film, not just because it's about film, and we know Hollywood loves films about itself. They usually win the awards, but it's meta as well in terms of the interaction, and that's really big at the moment.
And there are so many big stars who sing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, can you see Justin Timberlake playing Stone or Stein or like
Either one.
Yeah, either one. I mean, it'd be so good.
Yeah.
It's a buddy movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'll make The Prom 6 months after it closes on Broadway, but
I know.
Yeah.
We'll get back to Broadway. We were on our way back to London when COVID happened. We had done with Vanessa Williams, who was fantastic playing. And we had
Wait, who was she playing?
She was playing Alora Kingsley.
Oh, wow.
It was very funny. In fact, there's a line in the show that's kind of amazing. For her, at the end of her first scene, second scene, when she's at her house and the detective is flirting with her, and she implies that he could have her as part of the deal. She says, "I'm saving the best for last," which of course save the best for last. And even in England, the audiences went nuts for that. It was
how great! Did you see her in POTUS? She's unbelievable. Yes. Oh God, she's so great. So, will that get to have a life in London? Do you think?
I don't know. We had done it at the Donmar 5 years before, and we won the Olivier for Best Revival, and that was supposed to come right in. But our lead left the show the day it closed at the Donmar to go to do a wonderful actor named Tam Mutu to star in Dr. Zhivago on Broadway. So we had producer and the money in the theater, but no star. And we couldn't find, everyone thought we'd have to replace him with a name, and we couldn't find anyone who was available. And then we lost the theater, and then available, that it took 5 years to put it back together. And we got through. The previews were fantastic. And the cast was slightly different cast, but really good. And everyone said, "This is going to be a hit, yay!" And then they shut the whole West End down 2 or 3 days after they shut Broadway down.
Oh yeah, I'm remembering all this as you say it. Oh God.
God, this industry is brutal.
Well, the pandemic is brutal.
and the pandemic has been brutal. Anyways, it looks like we're now leaving the City of Angels because we're off to an ad break. G'day listeners, Aaron here. While you're topping up your coffees, did you know that you can support our show and go on a fantastically scary adventure at the same time? Go to www.thetonistonTales.com/bookstore to grab your copy of The Toniston Tales, a darkly funny Aussie trilogy about a young boy who rescues injured animals in his spare time and the roller coaster ride he's taken on by a literal fish out of water. Written by me, the village idiot of Thrash and Treasure, you'll come to love Toniston Turnbull and the dozens of wacky characters that he meets along the way. And here is a sneak peek. After barely 3 hours of light sleep, Toniston Turnbull slowly opens his eyes, his body feeling heavier than it ever has before. Not from extra weight, from tiredness and stress. Polly sighs in the shadows behind him, the flame of the nearest barbed wire tiki torch tower having died down, but not out, while Toniston napped. "Are you awake?" Toniston whispers. "Oh, how can I sleep in this place?" Polly moans, turning onto her side and facing Toniston, who stays on his back, imagining obscure animal-esque shapes in the rusted tin roof above them, shadows faintly formed by the nearest dying torches. "We need to work out a way to get out of here," Toniston states the obvious. He whispers despite the fact the nearest shacks to their own are several meters away and the occupants presumably asleep, as most prisoners seem to be. "How? There's no fence to squeeze through, or even climb," Polly replies, sitting up in bed and then stretching out her sore arms. The hairs stand on end from the slight chill in the air. "I don't know, but I think the whole fighting thing is a distraction." "You mean to distract the other prisoners when new ones arrive?" "No, I think that was just bad timing. Didn't you notice?" Toniston goes on to explain his theory. "That fight happened, everybody gathered around. I didn't see one person who wasn't watching, and then when I vomited, the only gate in this place closed shut." "What are you trying to say?" "I think something happened when everyone's back was turned." "Like what?" whispers Polly, her voice breaking up in fear. "I don't know. That's what we've got to find out." Toniston's brain starts working overtime, but it's strange that nobody seems to want to leave. They seem almost happy. Definitely content. So, when's the next one of those stupid beatdowns? Toniston can't help but think Polly looks tough, almost evil in the shadows as she asks. "I don't know," Toniston begins. But both teenagers are distracted by a crumbling noise in the distance. Hopping out of bed, Toniston joins Polly on her own, equally uncomfortable one, spotting a large, white package hovering close to the cave ceiling, behind it a shadowy figure. The package is lowered down, causing the teenagers themselves to lower as well, hoping not to be spotted by whom or what may be operating this obscure crane. Over a long, slow descent, the package is dropped to the ground. Polly keeps her eyes on it, but Toniston looks up immediately, spotting a large black shadow scurry away to God only knows where. "Come," he whispers, as he quietly hops off her bed, slipping into his docks with bare feet. Polly follows his lead. Careful to keep watch on all directions, the teenagers swiftly sneak over to the white package, their hearts beating an almost tribal jam in perfect harmony, and stopping in their tracks as the sudden realization of what lies before them sinks in. A woman, seemingly in her early 20s, wrapped up in bandages from the neck down. No, not bandages. "Is that spider web?" Polly asks, completely mortified at the prospect. Grab your copy of The Toniston Tales from thetonistonTales.com/bookstore today. Hooroo! Alrighty, you listen to Thrash and Treasure. I'm Aaron, that's Spencer. Oh, Struth also, I popped down the pokies for a punt and bumped into Stasi and Davo. It's Anastasia Barzee and David Zippel. Firstly, Anastasia, you've just done Mr. Holland's opus, or correctly titled Mr. Netherlands' opus. So any word on a Broadway transfer?
I'm not really in the loop. I mean, I think that's always the hope. It was a very successful production for we did it at the Algonquin Playhouse, which has become kind of a, it's really just a summer stock theater, but it's become much more than that. They have a very big developmental budget, and they're doing a new show every year. And this one, scheduled it to do, and then COVID hit. So it's been rescheduled twice, and we finally did it. And it was very good for them. And I think the creative team, BD Wong and Wayne Barker, were very happy and learned a lot. And I think they did a recording of it. I know they recorded 3 different shows, and they're doing a big mix of it. And they're hoping that they'll generate some interest, to do another production somewhere. But first production of a brand new musical. So, you never know. It could take 5 years, 10 years, could take 2 years. You never know. But I think it's in good shape, and they're very happy, and they learned a lot. So I think it satisfied everything they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, another new show is obviously Bad Cinderella.
Yeah.
Yes. So are you going to allow Anastasia to audition, David? Mhm.
I think it's cast.
Such a cheeky bastard sometimes. I'm sorry.
Did anyone see you for it? I wasn't in town for the first set of auditions, and we were like half the cast was cast about a year and a half ago because we thought we were coming in sooner. And then I did come in for the second set. I didn't know if they had seen you, and they should have certainly seen you.
Sorry, that's me being cheeky.
No, well, thank you. No, I hear nothing. But you know what? It's strange. Like was it Bernie Telsey?
No, it was Tara Rubin.
Tara Rubin, yeah. It's weird. Like you're on a few people's lists, and then they pass away, and then
Right.
and then you're not on someone else's list, and then they don't even it doesn't even occur. It's very interesting. So I feel like most of the stuff I'm doing now has been more television and film, and the musicals that I do are usually because a director knows me and asks. Like Darko wanted to see me come in for Kiss Me Kate, so I did Darko's Kiss Me Kate at Hartford Stage and at the Old Globe. Or Walter Bobby's doing something, and he's like, "Oh, I want to see Annie," or whoever it is. It seems to be that kind of way. When it's casting directors, I don't know. It's unfortunate, but like the Johnson Lips, the Jay Binder, the people who used to always bring me in and that I worked with repeatedly, they're no longer casting. So I don't know how you get your name back on a list at Bernie Telsey's or Tara Rubin, but that would, if anyone knows the answer, I'd love to hear it.
I can't even get this show on PR firms' list. And look at the guest list that we have had on, and yet they will still respond to us saying this is not right for our person. It's like, how do you know? Did you even ask? Like, goodness gracious me. Anyway, so I know
it's kooky. Yeah. It's the nature of the business and the world, and
Yes, it is a hideous bitch goddess, as I think Bart Simpson called that on Show Business, is a hideous bitch goddess. Bitch fest. Now, a fun question. Who would you cast as each other for a biopic of your lives?
So who would I cast as David Zippel?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Dietrich Bader.
Wow, from he was in Drew Carey show.
Yeah, but he's most recently was in Better Things.
Michelle Pfeiffer as Anastasia. She's too old to play you.
Oh, God bless you. Did you watch The First Lady?
Yeah, she could play your mother.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah,
oh, thank you. But oh my God, I love her. Okay, I have to think of someone else for you since you don't know Dietrich Bader. We need someone more famous.
Apologies to Dietrich Bader if you're listening to this.
I love you, Dietrich Bader. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, he was in the Beverly Hillbillies movie. He was Jethro in that.
He's just tall and wonderful and very loving. He has your similar energy. That's what I'm thinking of, right? Don't you think?
Sounds nice.
Yeah, he's like your favorite uncle, your favorite, the guy who's going to be there at 4 a.m. when you call and your car broke down. You call
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. All right, I'll try to think of someone else.
Next
question.
So it has to be someone with a very calming presence on screen, I think. Now, again, for both of you, as Halloween approaches, what has been the most embarrassing costume, and Spencer, this one's for you as well, most embarrassing costume you have worn so far in your lives? So when you look back on going, what was I thinking?
First show ever, I was an Oompa Loompa. And let me tell you, that orange face paint and green wig,
Yep.
I was not a fan
You're
of,
not a
of
fan.
that costume. And I don't know how Elphaba does it every day.
No, I don't either. But at least you weren't wrapped up in toilet paper, because that was me going to school as a mummy for Halloween, wrapped up in
Oh.
literal toilet paper, which we thought was the cleverest, smartest thing.
How did you look by third period?
Black eyes, crying in the principal's office. That's all right. Yeah. Oh, they weren't letting me get away with that one. No way in hell was I going to be able to survive to the end of the day on that day. So yes, you guys.
I don't know if it's the most embarrassing, but I'll say that it was the most maybe controversial. Pre-COVID, I guess it was during the election, the Trump-Hillary election.
Yeah.
And I went as a character I created called Jules, and I had a little black wig, leather dress with lots of beads, and I was an anti-vaxxer who really liked what Jill Stein was talking about.
No, so that's a good scary costume for today. Definitely.
She was really terrifying, and yeah, I really like what Jill Stein had to say. And I kind of stayed in character for the whole night, and people just they either got it and thought it was funny, or they just looked at me like I was insane. And so that was a good, kind of embarrassing. Yeah.
Yep. Again, at least it wasn't toilet paper.
No.
I think I blacked out all of my costume experiences. I'm not a big Halloween or a costume guy.
Yeah.
So I cannot answer this question honestly, because I can't recall where the last time I wore a costume. So I went to a 60s party. That was in Halloween, and I wore a hippies wig and a tie-dye vest, and I looked pretty ridiculous. And maybe a headband.
Oh.
Yep.
I'd like to see that.
Yes, me too. We're going to need photographic evidence.
There's time.
Hair, long, beautiful hair.
Yeah. Also, we'll move on. Now, brought this up at the start. Recently, an article went out that's caused a bit of a stir regarding 1776. It has caused a divide online. How important has diplomacy been over time compared to today's more vocal days, sort of in your careers?
Let's just say tact
Tact
has always been a very valuable thing, a tool for everyone involved.
Yes, I completely agree.
I agree. And I think that there's an unspoken kind of sense of, not to overuse the word, but community that maybe has started to leave the room. And I feel like everybody's there working hard. Everyone's there because they want to do this. Unless everyone is there with a good attitude and with a collaborative nature and with a respect for the creative team, then I think things can go awry. And we've all seen it. I mean, this is not the first time there's been a problem in a situation in the room. There's always people who talk and people who have issues and things like that. But it's different now because it's social media, and we don't just go in the bathroom and go, oh my God, I can't believe he's making me do that thing. I feel so silly. Now we're saying it online, and then it's having repercussions that I think are harmful to the people in the room who are trying to create something. And I think it could be harmful to the show. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe ticket sales will zoom, through the roof because people are so interested. I don't know. But for my money, I feel like, like City of Angels, for instance, that was a room full of people who all respected each other. There was never a feeling of like I didn't trust David, or I didn't trust Cy Coleman, or I didn't trust that Michael Blakemore was going to take care of me. There was an understanding that we were all there to work and that we were all going to take care of each other. And the cast did that too. And for me, that's one of the beautiful things about theater. And it's sad to think maybe that's not so much. I don't know. My opinion as the old lady in the room.
I feel the way you do, and it requires a lot of trust. And City of Angels is a really good example. When we were putting it together, the pieces were there, but it took quite a while the first time to get it right. And we had to, the set was so large and had so many set changes that Half of it was in the alley for the first week, and they would have to, during the intermission, swap the first act and put it back in the alley and take the second act till they figured out how to seamlessly make all the parts flow. And because of that, there were scenes that we had to change so that it would go from one moment to the next seamlessly, and just little tweaks. But people couldn't quite see where we were going, and you have to trust the team, trust one another, and singularly give 100% to make it work. And I think part of theater is it is a bit hierarchical. It's the authors and the director, and you have to trust that their vision is going to work. And as an actor, you don't have a lot of other options. But if everyone doesn't commit, it's miraculous when something comes together anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it makes it really hard. And then, of course, after it opens, that's the challenge of being an actor. You have to do it 8 times a week. And that's why I suppose if I were an actor, I wouldn't read reviews, because you still have to do it.
Absolutely.
It's but you still have to commit regardless. And it's a challenge. It's a tough business.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
as Anastasia said, there is that ripple effect, and then it gets into the fans, and then they start having their say, and then the pylons come on and people picking sides and stuff. And my comment on it was, I got 20 seconds into finding out this drama, and I realized I really do not give a shit. I really don't care. Goodness gracious me. If look, I sit here introducing you guys, and do I not put in 200 freaking %?
You do.
No one's paying me for that. That's the thing. And to say that she shouldn't be grateful to have a job, yes, she should be, because I've been unemployed for longer than 5 years. It fucking sucks. Pardon my language. It sucks. And for anybody to say that they shouldn't be grateful, yeah, you should. No matter what job you are doing, because look at the times we're in right now, mate. A lot of people out there are struggling.
There's a little bit of a perception, I think, that producers are bad, people in charge are bad, and that cast is good. And I don't know, when I was doing Broadway shows and was much more a part of that world, I never felt that way. I felt like producers are good. They're the reason why I have a job. Creative teams are good. They hired me and gave me a place to come and play and to be creative and to express myself. There wasn't this kind of strange separation that seems to exist now. I think there's also, and I'm going to say this word, there's an ignorance about how things work and how shows get made and how hard it is to get something to happen, how much money it costs, how many people, some of the producers are making money, but a lot of that money came from people who gave $50,000. That makes a huge difference in their life, who are doing it because they really fucking love theater and they want to be a part of it. And so that's the part that for me is a little heartbreaking, is this kind of ignorance about how things work, and this idea that, the man is making the money and the man is doing this and the man is keeping us down. And I just don't think that is the case. I think theater is not a place where people go to become millionaires. They just don't. They're in finance. The theater is somewhere where people go to work, to create, because they truly love it and because it's in their soul. So it makes me sad when I read things like that, because I do have a perception of how hard those directors have worked, not just to create this piece, but to make it fucking happen. To create a show at ART that's going to go to Broadway, that's going to tour for a year. That's a lot of work. So
I think we have a right to fail too. To blow it and to try really hard and to not get it right. Obviously no one wants to. We all try to do our best, I think.
Yeah.
But, sometimes more often than not, it doesn't become everything it could be. And sometimes not enough. So
right.
That's the bravery for actors and writers and for directors. You're putting out there and you give it your all and hope that, sometimes the most amazing, that's why people talk about it as alchemy. You could put the most brilliant people together in a room with the most gifted cast, and it just doesn't gel. So,
Yeah.
but you still have to try 150% really to even get it.
You do, of course. If you're holding back, then you're never going to be reaching.
I think the comment that a lot of people had the issue with was the fact that she said that she's only giving 75%. Now, two things about that. I think there's a lot of people who only give 75%. I think the issue was her saying that she was only giving 75%.
Right.
Because I saw the production. If that's her 75%, then I don't want to see her 100% because she kicked butt.
Did she? Well, she's lucky then.
She was a standout for me in the show.
Yeah.
But I think that was what the issue was. It wasn't that she gave 75%. Because again, you're doing it 8 times a week. That's hard.
Oh, yeah.
But
humans are literally human.
Yeah.
I didn't take I didn't take issue with that comment.
A lot of people have.
Well, it seems to me that she wasn't really being clear, and she did actually, qualify and say in her Twitter rant, I'm talking about, the other 6% is me. She said sleeping, 4% is pooping. And she had a whole rundown of the other percentages.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is now I think it's boring, but it was fascinating last night when I was going to bed reading through all of it.
But at the end of the day, if a 17-year-old kid at McDonald's doesn't give us a full thing of French fries and doesn't put the right sauce on our burgers, we get on Twitter and we complain to McDonald's about it, or we call up and we complain. So you got to sort of think that as a cast member and stuff like that, you do need to be mindful of what you are giving to your audience at the end of the day, whether you are serving food or whether you are on stage, because there is a paying audience there.
Yeah.
And people today are vocal and they're horrible.
Yeah.
She probably put her foot in it a little bit there, which I do know a hell of a lot about.
She comes from a world where she creates her own material and she self-directs and she self-produces. Those are very different shoes than walking into a rehearsal room and being an actor.
Yeah.
Right. One person shows too, right?
One person shows.
She is her own community.
Yeah.
So it's a different world when you step into a company.
Yeah.
Yes, very different. It's you gotta be a part of the soup. You're just an ingredient in the big pot, in my opinion. But whatever that is.
Oh, look, these days people want to stand out for absolutely nothing. It's like if someone getting stung by poisonous bugs just become famous on, bugger off. Seriously. Anyways, we will move on. Now, David, how different is the song development process working with Disney, when you worked with Disney, with having Eisner's oversight? Was there much? Because I know the whole history of Disney myself. If listeners at home, you can go look it up on Wiki.
When we did Hercules, Eisner was very present, and we were lucky. It's more like writing a show for theater, live theater, than it is writing a movie in general, because you develop it, because it takes place over such a long period of time, and you create demos, and then they start animating to your songs. So it's like theater in that there's a first pass before anything begins. But Eisner was very he listened to everything and gave us notes. He was pretty hands-on.
It was good. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. So I tell you, I've watched a lot of documentaries, David, on Disney and those years and the golden years. And that's why I was interested to ask what sort of oversight he had.
We were lucky because I was the newbie on the team. Alan Menken had already done, huge Disney successes. And Ron Clements and John Musker, our directors and the writers, had also had great success. So when I came on, we just basically dealt with the top executives, and they would come and and they tended to like everything too. So it made life really easy.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes, no, we all know I love my Disney. The only complaint I have about Disney songs, David, is that they're all too short. You get this 2.5 minute bop and you're sitting, you're like, wow, I'm loving this scene, and it's over. And you're like, what? No, give me more of that. Give me more of the muses and their funky Motown or whatever it was,
2 words for you: rewind.
Ah!
I do. And I literally, like with the Hercules soundtrack, I've got the instrumentals on a playlist. But when I listen to the songs, I literally just take out those 3, 4, 5 songs that you wrote, not the pop versions. I just want the ones from the film. And then I'll put those on repeat. But it's just, it doesn't, yeah, they're just too short. So that's why I love that we're getting Hercules on stage.
Even saying rewind ages me terribly.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Spencer may not have had VHS, but I certainly did. A lot of them. And I had Hercules and Mulan on VHS. So
There you go.
Yep, I had it on VHS.
yep,
Me too.
absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But yes. Okay, now if the 10-year-old you guys popped into the room and appeared before us, what reminder would they have for both of you?
Wipe your feet.
Excellent.
God, 10-year-old me. Practice your piano.
Practice the piano. Awesome. What about you, Spencer?
So that was not that long ago. That was only about 10 years ago.
10
Wow.
days ago, by the looks of it. Goodness me.
Wow.
I know. Tell me about it.
Wow.
He's an embryo.
I know.
Right? Oh my God.
I would say they would remind me to take it all in. You know, I've been living in New York for a little bit, for about a year, and you know sometimes it does. You forget to take that in. That like you're in this city.
Life.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I like that a lot.
I couldn't tell you what I would. Oh, you know what? I would probably tell myself to remind myself to always put my keys or my glasses or my sunglasses or my hat in the same bloody place because I'm
Also
nearly
good.
40 and I am still losing. I go to sleep and I take my glasses off and I wake up. Do you think I can find them? And they're literally right next to me somewhere around here, but because I can't see without them on, I can't find them. But yes, no, anyways. Now, Anastasia, you play so many sweet characters. When are we going to see you play a murderous psychopath?
I play a lot of murderous psychopaths on TV, it seems.
Oh, I don't watch cop shows though, and you're like literally on all the cop shows.
I'm always the one who either killed my daughter or hired someone to kill my husband, or those are my. Well, you know what? Kiss Me Kate wasn't the sweetest character, so
I haven't seen that, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
know.
Mallory Kingsley wasn't the sweetest character.
Mallory Kingsley wasn't. I was a bad girl using my sex to,
I'm gonna put an idea in your brain here. It's gonna ferment and stew over the years.
Yep.
Misery, the one-woman musical.
Oh yeah, I want to do that. Definitely. Especially after seeing the revival. I don't even think it was a revival. It was just made into a play, I think. Or was it? I
Yeah,
can't remember.
They did too.
Oh, I saw it with was married to Demi Moore. Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I just that'd be such a. I was trying to think of a female role that was sort of
No, I would love that.
iconic, like truly iconic. And I'm sort of sitting here and there's like Leatherface and Michael Myers
and her name is Annie too. Her name's Annie, so it's perfect.
It is too.
Annie.
Now
I'm your biggest fan. I'm your number one fan.
If you watch UK Drag Race, there was a great snatch game where someone did Kathy Bates as that character. It was
That's good.
It's quite funny. Now, David, do reflection and go the distance ever feel like the Golden Children? Because literally everybody around the world knows them.
I certainly have great affection for those songs, and they've affected people in surprising ways, and I'm very proud of that.
Yep. How many times have you heard them on American Idol, X Factor, The Voice?
Not enough.
Not enough.
David, Roger Bart is a good friend of mine. From the time I was 21, we did hair together in Miami.
I'll bet he liked you.
Oh, well, that's another interview.
Oh.
No, I love Roger. And we've been friends, for 30 something years. And
yeah, we've been friends since Hercules. Yeah, he's so talented. And I gather he's fantastic in Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Yep. And they went through a lot. They were supposed to open and it kept getting because of COVID. So he's doing well. I haven't talked to him in a few months, but I'll
say hi for me.
I will.
And he was so great in the part. He played Hades. He was amazing. soon. He apparently has a conflict and can't do Paper Mill, but
I'd assume that he's transferring to Broadway with Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
think-
thought. Yeah.
I don't know when exactly that's coming in. But
Yeah.
They haven't. They've just. It's. I don't like when they do it broad. They just said like spring 2023. Like, be anything.
Yeah.
that would be a conflict then, for sure.
Yeah, that's it.
One last question. I don't know if Spencer's got any. Now, what would for you, Anastasia, your drag king name be? And David, what would your drag queen name be?
Rhonda Santos.
Ron DeSantis.
Oh,
Oh, of course, Ron. Yeah, yep. Perfect.
I can't top that. Come on, just end with that. Rhonda Santos. That's just perfect. Where am I gonna go? Right mind, David. You're the writer. Marge.
No, a man's
Mar-
name for you, a male. Yeah. So I'm usually really good at it because I like me puns, clearly. Yeah, and I actually lied down last night when I wrote this question trying to think of ones, and I couldn't. My mind went blank, which is really odd for me.
I mean, it should be funny and it should be a little like Rhonda Santos is perfect.
Rufus Paul.
Rufus Paul is good.
RuPaul.
Rufus Paul. But after hearing Rhonda Santos, I want like a Marjorie Taylor Greene type person, or a Bobert butt gun. Bobert gun in your butt.
Ted Cruz's.
Ted Cruz's. There you go.
Yeah.
Marco Ruby balls, Ruby slippers, Marco Ruby slippers. I don't know. I can't compete with David Zippel. Who are we kidding?
We won't make you have a drag queen name, Spencer, because you are a straight man. Yeah, Spencer, did you have any? I know that you've
I'm just wondering if David can talk a little bit about that process with Bad Cinderella, with working with Andrew Lloyd Webber.
This is not my first time with Andrew, and so we have a rapport and a friendship. And years ago, he came to me about writing. I kept getting these appointments. His assistant, who I loved, would call me and say, "Andrew's coming to New York. He'd like to meet with you to talk to you about a show." And we'd pick a date, and then about a day before, Andrew's not coming now. And this happened for a few years. And then he asked me to do The Woman in White, which I did. And I had never done anything through composed, and that scared the hell out of me. So I thought, well, I should definitely do that, because that's sort of not where I live. And it was fun to write it like that. Cinderella is kind of a mixture. It's a book musical, but it has some through composed scenes as well. And he's very passionate, and he loves writing music, and he loves musical theater, and he thinks like a dramatist, which is one of the things that you want in a collaborator. I mean, Alan Menken is very much in his own unique way, also a major dramatist, and that's really important in a good collaborator. In fact, I have to say, most of the people that I've chosen to work with over a period of time have been that. And we've just had a really good time with this show because it's fun. And Emerald Fennell, who wrote the book, did you ever see the movie Promising Young Woman?
Yes. Oh.
And she's very funny and had a really interesting so it's not that's why we changed the title. I had been encouraging Andrew not to call it Cinderella from the beginning. I didn't want people to think it was just Cinderella, and also because when you Google it, you get everybody else's Cinderella.
Right.
even mine. I have mine out there too in the world. So yes.
There you go. So so that's how and there's a song called Bad Cinderella, which is very fun, I think. So that's how we ended up with the title.
Oh, how cool.
I still think Badass Cinderella's better.
Basically, yeah.
Badass Cinderella. Yeah.
Cinderella.
I cannot wait till it comes to Melbourne. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
You're to come to Melbourne with it. I hope I get the chance.
Yes. Contact your agent. Say, I want to do conventions in Australia. We've got Comic-Con. We've got Supernova. They will pay you to come over, pay for your hotel, and then you can sit there and meet fans and sign autographs. I'll come along with my VIP pass and sit backstage and completely avoid the crowds, because the crowds will be really scary. wouldn't be my first time, but that's how to get here without actually bringing a show here. That's what you do. Get the
I like it.
conventions, and then they fans will pay $50 an autograph or a photo.
Oh,
Yeah. I have friends who do the Jaws. I
Yeah,
have a friend who is in Jaws 1 and 2, and he still does them.
yeah,
All the conventions.
yeah. I sat behind David Hasselhoff,
ah,
and on the other side of David Hasselhoff was Barbara Eden.
Oh.
So I'm sitting there watching them two sign autographs and watching the fans just go crazy for them, and my eye was
Oh, I
twitching.
bet.
Alrighty, so I'm going to quickly go grab the puppy so we can say goodbye, and we'll do all the socials and all that.
good luck with everything that you're doing.
Thank you, darling.
I'm looking forward to seeing Bad Cinderella.
I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you get to see Hercules. And oh my God, your baby is beautiful.
Isn't she? She's just, hey,
Elle.
where's my
Oh.
kisses? Oh,
Mm.
right in the ear. Because I always kiss her up here,
Mhm.
just above the ears or above the eyes.
Oh.
She's a gorgeous look. She's got droopy eyes on her.
Oh, look at that tongue.
I know.
Oh. She's so tired.
She is. She's been asleep in the laundry all night. Don't you bite me, Missy. Yeah, like your belly rubs,
Oh,
don't
she
you?
kisses you after.
Yes.
Well, thank you for
Oh.
getting up in the middle of the night to interview us.
No, thank you guys so much for joining me again. It has been an honor. Anyways, a huge thank you to Mr. David Zippel, Lady Anastasia Barzee, or as I like to call her, Stasi Barzee, and of course my substitute co-host for today, Spencer, who you will hear on a lot of our ad breaks. Maybe not this particular episode because we need to record another lot of reviews. But yes, he's our Broadway spy, so you're going to hear him pop up every now and then reviewing different shows. Evan will be back next week when we have the amazing Mr. Craig Bioko. What? I don't know. What's happening? What reality are we in? Anyways, so you can find Anastasia on Twitter at Anastasia Barzee, one word. David Zippel at David Zippel, and you can find Spencer at Spencer Sher at Spencer SPENCER _. So there is an underscore at the end of that, but if you look below, you'll find all the links and the details, because obviously you'll find us at Thrash and Treasure. And anyways, that's it from us. You take care. Thanks for listening, and we shall see you next time. Hooroo!